Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem wa alihi wa ashabi ajmain ila yawmiddin. Qala Allahu Ta'ala fil Quran al-Majid, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Qad kanat ayati tutla alaykum fakuntum ala aqabikum tankisun mustakbirin bihi samiran tahjurun afalam yaddabbarul qawl am ja'ahum ما لم يأتي آباؤهم الأولين صدق الله العلي العظيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي إن أريد إلا الإصلاح ما استطعت وما توفيقي إلا بالله عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Dear brothers in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are extremely grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having bestowed upon us this opportunity to be part of the Quran class batch 2019-2020. Any number of prostrations to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this would not suffice. For it is the Quran and His book for which only He grants the tawfiq and the hidayah for whomever He wishes that they should understand His book. It is simply impossible for you and I also to seek guidance from the Quran if it was not for the wish of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا يَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Not by your wishing anything could happen except by what wishes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the Lord of the worlds. Allah also says, قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ بِيَدِهِ. It is the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is the grace and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you and I can gain guidance, acquire knowledge, and be bestowed with success both in this world and the hereafter. It is not our capacity or within us that we can seek the guidance of the Quran if Allah does not want. So we have to entirely depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us this guidance from His book. No doubt we need to take the initiative, we need to take the effort, as all of you have taken the effort in sparing your valuable time, the time when most often we would either be sleeping or be walking in some park or near the beach, or we would be engaged in some other activity, but yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His grace and mercy, had put that thought in our mind that no, we should go and we shall go and understand the Quran, and we will spare this valuable time of 1 hour in acquiring the knowledge of the Quran. This is definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's grace and mercy and nothing else except His grace and mercy. This we need to first and foremost understand. It is not so easy for anybody to create a relationship with the Quran. For there will be many impediments, obstacles, hurdles in the process of acquiring the knowledge of the Quran. And the greatest hurdle and the obstacle will be our own nafs and the shaitan. These two are so powerful creation of Allah that they will never allow you to do anything good. On the contrary, they will try to influence you to do everything bad. And this is nothing but a test. Without these, our very purpose of coming into this world, which is an examination center, will not be fulfilled. So we will have to fight against it. We will have to overcome the influences of the shayateen, who will put obstacles in our path to the maximum extent that we may not gain the guidance from the Quran. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will definitely not allow the shaitan to succeed for those people who believe in Allah, for those people who have strong belief in the akhirah, and for those people who do not associate partners with Allah. If we are able to develop this faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with total conviction that it is only Allah who can give us the best in this world and the hereafter. And for our success in the hereafter, we have no other way except to come to the Quran. It is only the Quran that will give us the guidance. It will give us the roadmap. How do we live in this world? And how can we reach our destination, that is Jannah, paradise? There is no other source which can give us this direction in our lives. So we will have to overcome the influences of the shayateen. Now the shayateen are no abstract figures, but these shayateen can be our own people around us, our friends, our relatives, our family members, our neighbors, our contacts, who may try to influence us, who may try to put all kinds of obstacles in our path, who may try to divert our attention, who may try to stop us. But we will have to overcome all these things. Because I have to be first convinced that I have to seek the guidance of the Quran. Otherwise, I will be answerable to Allah on the day of Qiyamah. This should be the fear in our hearts. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would ask on the day of Qiyamah, did not my messenger come to you? Were not my verses recited upon you? And the first verse which I recited today from Surah Mu'minun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the same thing. Qad kanat ayati tutla alaykum. Certainly, my verses were recited upon you. Fakuntum ala akhabikum tankisun. But you turned away upon your heels in arrogance. This world kept you so occupied that you had no time for my book. And this question will be asked to the people on the day of Qiyamah. Before they will be thrown into the hellfire, Allah will ask them this question. Were not my verses recited upon you? Weren't you given an opportunity to understand the book of Allah? When did not my messengers come to you to warn you that there will be a day of Qiyamah when you will be standing accountable before Allah for not heeding to His advice given in the Quran? We will have no answer on that day. Allah says in the same Surah Mu'minun, Alam takun ayati tutla alaykum fakuntum biha tukazzibun. Did not my verses be recited upon you, but you at it denied? You did not show any interest towards understanding the Quran? You know what answer the people will give at that point of time before being thrown into the hellfire for not heeding to the advice or not responding to the invitation of the Quran? They would say, Khalu Rabbana ghalabat alayna shikhwatuna wa kunna qawman zalin. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ye hamari bhool thi, ye hamari ghaflat thi. Overcame upon us, became dominant over us, our wretchedness. We do not know what went wrong, how the shayateen influenced us. We still can't understand how come this world dominated over us, how come the priorities of this world overtook us, overcame us. We should have fought against it, we should have overcome it. But they prevailed upon us and we were left stranded. But at that point of time to regret and put forth this answer will be of no avail. This is an opportunity, my dear brothers, where we have, alhamdulillah, Allah has given us sound health. Allah has given us sound intellect. Allah has given us a sound body. Allah has given us so many things in this world which we did not even dream of. And everything free of cost. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you wish to count the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you cannot count it. So many favors Allah has conferred upon us. Just look into the other side of the world, or just look into the other type of Muslims around, or the human beings around, what difficulties and trials and tribulations and problems they are undergoing. Allah has given us a very peaceful environment here. We have a good night's sleep. We are eating not 3 times but even 5 times a day. Allah has given us shelter. Allah has given us clothing. Allah has given us family and relatives. Allah has given us children. Allah has given us wives and parents. Allah has given us friends. Allah has given us so many things in this world. All these things which we have got from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has just been Allah's mercy which He has conferred upon us, His blessings which He has conferred upon us. Can't we spare out of these 24 hours 1 hour in a day to understand the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Answer me this question. We acquire knowledge of so many subjects in this world only for our material success, only for this worldly success. We study so many courses. Yes, good, we have to, because that is also knowledge. But shouldn't we spare a little time for the book of Allah? What prevents us? Please tell me, what prevents us? If only we decide, we can. Where there is a will, there is a way. But if you do not, then there are 101 excuses in front of you. But these excuses are only going to destroy you. These excuses are only going to cause loss to you. You're causing loss to nobody else except for yourself. فَمَنِ اهْتَدَى فَإِنَّمَا يَهْتَدِي لِنَفْسِهِ. Whoever wants to seek guidance from the Quran, it is going to benefit his own self. This 1 hour, we preserve it as a reward in the hereafter. This 1 hour is going to be a source of our salvation in the hereafter. This 1 hour every day will be a rewarding experience when we are being put in the grave. We do not value this life when we are living. It's only at the time of death when we will realize that so much of our life has just passed away, but we could not gain anything much. We could not encash upon it. We did not make use of this opportunity that was at hand, because this is only once in a lifetime opportunity. We'll never get this again. What time has gone forever. It will never come back. And time and tide wait for none. It just comes and goes away. Whoever can capitalize upon it, whoever can make the best use of it, every breath that we are taking is an opportunity. Every breath. एक सांस भी जो हम लेते हैं, एक बार सांस ले चुके, बस खलास हो गए, वो जिंदगी का एक सांस खत्म हो गया. And every time we are breathing, every time we are exhaling and inhaling, and every moment that we are spending in this world, we are actually coming closer and closer to the grave. Which is going to be our last moment, nobody knows. There's no guarantee or assurance that we will die only at 70 or 80. This is an absolute misnomer or a myth. Death can strike us at any given point of time. But are we really prepared to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with all that we have done in the life that we have achieved? If we look back 30 years back, 40 years back, 50 years back, what have we achieved? What have we gained to present it before Allah on the day of Qiyamah, which is an endless life? Wise shall be those people who make use of this temporal life which Allah has provided and encash upon it in the best possible manner to make our akhirat a success. This may be another 10 years left, maybe 5 years left, maybe 20 years left, maybe only 1 year left. Who knows even the next moment whether we are going to be alive or not. But are we really prepared? Are we preparing ourselves for that day? Quran keeps reminding us about the akhirah. Quran keeps telling us that this world is temporal. This world is only an adornment. This world is only a dhoka. It is a deception. And it is like a froth or a foam on the sea, which has no value. It will just disappear after a moment. You know, like the froth on the sea, कफ जिसको बोलते हैं, पानी के ऊपर जो कफ रहता है, it's only temporary. It just gets washed off. It just disappears. It's like a passing cloud. It will not remain forever. What is going to remain forever is وَالْبَاقِيَاتُ-الصَّالِحَاتُ خَيْرٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ ثَوَابًا وَخَيْرٌ أَمَلًا. That is the long-lasting good deeds that you're going to do in this world, which are going to come to your rescue on the day of Qiyamah. And are we preparing for that? This is what the Quran is reminding us constantly. No doubt we are all understanding the Quran. We are all the people who have recited the Quran, who have been reciting the Quran. In the Ramadan which has just passed away a few weeks back, we have all been reciting the Quran. Some have completed 2 doors, 3, 4 and even 5. But has that Quran created that impact in our lives? Has that Quran revolutionized our perception and thinking and how we take it forward? Have we just done it only as a traditional or as a ritual that Ramzan mein jo hai 2 दौर खत्म करना मैं 2 दौर खत्म कर दूंगा या 4 दौर खत्म करना मैं 4 दौर खत्म करूंगा? But the Quran has not come for that. You no doubt has received the reward of reciting the Quran. And even through understanding the Quran through the translation also has some kind of an impact. But to feel the real charm of its originality, through one's heart, mind and even the soul, one has to necessarily understand Quran directly from the text. This is exactly what we are trying to help you. This technique of word for word Quran is nothing but making you understand the language of the Quran, whereby while reciting the Quran or hearing the Quran, you should be able to understand the meaning of the Quran by itself. We do not want any translation, we do not want any medium, we do not want any screen or veil to be between us and the word of Allah. Allah is communicating to us. We need to understand the word of Allah. We need to understand what Allah is communicating to us directly from the text, from the Arabic text. Allah has selected the Quran in Arabic. And the depth and sublimity of the Arabic language is something which one keeps learning and learning. His life would get over, but that knowledge of the Arabic language will never end. This is the speciality of this language of Arabic, and the Quran has been revealed in this Arabic language. It is for you and I to try to understand the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly from the text. Now we are reciting in Surah Fatiha, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. How many of us really know the meaning? Alhamdulillah, most of you maybe. But there's the entire Quran for us to learn. And we need to just grasp the knowledge of this language of Arabic so that this revolutionary impact that it can have directly on my heart and soul, directly from understanding the Quran from the text, is inexpressible. This you need to only experience. This cannot be expressed. Tomorrow when you're going to stand performing salah or reciting the Quran, and if you're able to understand the meaning as you're reciting, the kind of an impact and effect it would have on you is something mind-boggling. Allah Himself says, وَإِذَا سَمِعُوا مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَى الرَّسُولِ تَرَى أَعْيُنَهُمْ تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمِّ مِمَّا عَرَفُوا مِنَ الْحَقِّ. There was a Christian delegation which came to meet the Prophet ﷺ in the Masjid Nabwi, and they came to learn what Islam was all about from the Prophet ﷺ. And the moment they heard the verses of the Quran being recited by the Prophet, their eyes were flowing with tears. مِمَّا عَرَفُوا مِنَ الْحَقِّ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, because they could recognize the truth in the Quran. And this was a Christian delegation. They did not know ABC or what Islam is all about. But when they could understand the Arabic language in the context in which the Prophet ﷺ was reciting, was enough for them to make their eyes flow with tears. Today we are Muslims. We know so much about the Quran. We know so much about Islam. We know so much about the beloved Prophet ﷺ. We keep reciting the Quran morning and evening, day in and day out. But do our eyes flow with tears ever? To be honest, the answer is simply no. We have been hearing the Quran from the Hafiz Sahib during Taraweeh. But did that khairat create any kind of an impact in my life? Did my heart tremble out of fear? Did my eyes flow with tears? Did we fall down in prostration, in humility and fear, thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the kalam that He has revealed? Simply if we look into this, the answer simply is no, because we have not taken the effort to understand the Quran directly from the text. Or we have treated the Quran as some holy book and as a ritual to be used only at occasions. Ramzan comes, I will take the Quran. Ramzan goes, me and the Quran have now no connection. When I open a new office or have a new house inaugurated, then I think of the Quran, and then also I call the Hafiz Sahib or some holy Sahib to come and recite. I will not recite. Somebody dies, we recite the Quran. Somebody gets married, we are more worried about sending the Quran along with the couple. If something goes wrong in the house, we expect the Mauli Sahib to come and give us some tawiz or tell us that there's some shayateen in the house which has to be get rid, and he will come and recite certain verses of the Quran, and we think magic is going to happen. Our lives will never change, our perception of Islam will never change unless we hold the Quran firmly within ourselves. خُذُوا مَا آتَيْنَاكُمْ بِقُوَّةٍ وَاذْكُرُوا مَا فِيهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, hold on to the Quran with firmness. Quran को मजबूती से थाम लो अपनी ज़िंदगी में और गौर फिक्र करो उसमें, नसीहत हासिल करो उसमें. वस्कुरु मा फीही, and remember whatever in it, so that you may seek admonition, so that it could be beneficial to you. We have to understand that this Quran should not be treated in a ritualistic and in a customary fashion or in a traditional fashion. This Quran should be our lifeline, without which we cannot survive. It is like oxygen for us. Just as how we need oxygen for our physical existence, so important it is for us to keep in touch and to hold firmly to the Quran for our spiritual existence. अगर हमारी रूह ख़त्म हो जाए ज़िंदगी में, तो हमारा जीना भी जो है बेकार है. When our soul departs, then our body becomes lifeless. Similarly, when we are living in this world, but if we are depriving our soul of the benefit of the Quran, then we are like dead souls. We are just walking about, moving about like vegetables. We have no life remaining in us, because the main life is the spiritual existence. रूह जब बाकी रहती है, रूह की बका ही जो है हमारी ज़िंदगी का वजूद. रूह ख़त्म हो जाती है, फिर ज़िंदगी जीना नहीं जीना एक ही है. और ये रूहानियत हमको कुरान ही से हासिल हो सकती है. रसूल अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को भेजा ही गया कि इस कुरान को लोगों के सामने पेश करें. या अय्युहल मुद्दस्सिर कुम फांज़िर, O the one wrapped in garments, stand up and start warning the people. Tell the people what the Quran is telling them about. Tell them what they should do, what they should not do. Each time a verses are being revealed to you, convey it to them. Balligh ma unzil, convey what has been sent down to you. This is what you have been sent into this world for. But after the beloved Prophet ﷺ has departed from this world, whose responsibility is it now to convey the message of the Quran? It is our collective responsibility. It is the responsibility of the Muslim Ummah. Among the sea of humanity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen a particular group called Muslims. Did we ask, or did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ask us whether you want to be born in a Muslim family or a non-Muslim family? No. But what is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's grace and mercy that He made us to be born in a Muslim house? From the womb of a Muslim mother, where the mother was reciting the Quran while we were in the womb itself. We used to listen to the verses of the Quran before we came into this world itself. Was this not great mercy and grace of Allah? But do you think when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives some favors upon us, will we be left unaccountable? The more the favors, the more the responsibility, the more the accountability. If anybody has a higher position in any organization, then his accountability also becomes equally corresponding. If a person is working as a clerk, his responsibility is less. If a person is working as an executive, his responsibility and accountability is more. And if somebody is the president or a vice president or the managing director of a company, his accountability and responsibility is more. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed us and given us a label of Khair Ummah, the best community which was created in this world, then we have to live up to it. If we are not going to live up to it, then we will be accountable before Allah on the day of Qiyamah. We will be very seriously responsible for all that we did in this world and squandered away that great favors which Allah had conferred upon us. The greatest favor, as I said, that we were born as Muslims. We received Islam from the womb of our mother itself. We didn't have to go and search for truth. But are we just going to while it away? We are just going to waste it? How are we going to hold it? How are we going to take it forward? How are we going to live by it? How are we going to pass it to the next generation which is going to come after us? It is our responsibility to do that. And we can do that only when we know the seriousness of this matter. Otherwise, we will not be allowed to go scot-free. No matter how much you may glorify Allah, no matter how much you may have performed other obligations, but you have not done the basic fundamental obligation of living by the Quran and conveying the message of the Quran, then we will not be able to go scot-free or not be held responsible by Allah. We will be standing accountable before Allah. This same Quran, if we are going to hold it firmly, if we are going to read it day in and day out, understanding its meaning and living by the teachings of the Quran, then this Quran will advocate on our behalf and intercede on our behalf and take us into paradise. It will come as a source of our rescue in the grave when we will be left alone, or everybody will just walk away. They'll just come bury you and walk off. There will be nobody who will come with us in the grave. This moment everybody has to undergo. Kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut. Every soul has to taste death. And the moment you die, you are just taken away from your palatial houses and bungalows and been put in that same grave where the rich and the poor all lie in the same mud. And in the dark pit, nobody will be there to come to our rescue. If only something would come to our rescue, it will be the good deeds which we have done in the light of the Quran. This Quran itself will come in that grave and it will stand there beside us. The whole grave will get lit on account of its brightness. The man will ask, who are you? I have never seen you all my life. When my own people have abandoned me and thrown me here and gone away, who are you now to come here? He would say, don't bother, just relax, I am your friend. Who is it that is your friend? I don't have any friend like you. He said, this is the Quran which you held firmly. This is the Quran which you associated your life with. Today I have come to give answers to all the malaika for all the questions that they are going to ask you. You just remain silent, you just relax. The kind of joy the deceased would experience at that point of time, he would say, I never knew the value and I never knew the reward that I would get in the grave on account of my connection with you. It's good that I kept connected with you. And that the Quran would then tell, just relax, I will answer all the questions the malaika are going to ask you. And with that, the Quran will take over. Further, on the day of Mahshar, when everybody will be resurrected, the Quran will again come and advocate and fight on behalf of that particular friend and tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this was your slave, O Allah, who kept seriously connected with me. This was the slave, O Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who recited me day in and day out, who lived by what he read. And he not only lived by what he read, but he even conveyed the message to the people. He popularized me. He did everything for the sake of me. He sacrificed his whole life for my sake. O Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I today intercede on his behalf and I plead to you that you should send him to paradise and forgive his sins. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have no other option than to accept the advocacy of the Quran and admit that person into paradise. On the contrary, if we have abandoned the Quran from our lives, God forbidding, if we have stayed away from the Quran, if we do not connect ourselves with this Quran, then this Quran will advocate against us on the day of Qiyamah and to say, this was the same, I was this Quran, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who used to be decorated in beautiful covers and kept as a showpiece in the masajids and in the houses. No, but this person did not have the time he did not have the time, nor did he have the tawfiq to ever lift me and read what I am. I was just kept as a showpiece, decorated in his mihrabs, both in the houses and the masajids, but he never picked me up. He never took me and learnt what I was. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He did gross injustice to me. He used me only on occasions when He wanted it and abandoned me the rest of the time. Oh Allah, you do not admit him today in paradise, and Allah will have no other option than to accept the advocacy of the Quran. The same Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whom we have a lot of hopes pinned on him to intercede on our behalf, will also register a complaint against us, God forbidding, if we have abandoned the Quran from our lives. وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّي إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is my qawm, this is my people who have abandoned the Quran from their lives. What will we do? If we are going to be left high and dry with no one coming to our rescue on the day of Qiyamah, where will we turn towards? Who will come to our rescue? Who will come for our salvation? The Quran has advocated against our behalf. The Prophet ﷺ has registered a complaint against our behalf. Where will we go? This Quran will be the determining factor for our entry into Jannat or Jahannam. Please make sure this point is very clearly understood. Quran को मजबूती से थाम ले हमारी ज़िंदगी में, दुनिया में कामयाब, आखिरत में भी कामयाब. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Prophet ﷺ has said, every community, its position in this world will depend on their connection with the Quran. उरूज भी इसी कुरान के ज़रिए से हासिल होगा, ज़वाल और पस्ती भी इसी कुरान के ज़रिए से हासिल होगा. If we have held on to the Quran firmly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this community will always be exalted, will always rule the world. Did it not happen during the Sahabas? Did it not happen during the time of the Khulafa Rashidin? During Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala's time, more than 3/4 of the world was under Islam. How did Islam spread? How all the countries came under the control of Islam? All because of the Quran. The moment the Sahabas took up the Quran seriously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took them to the zenith of excellence. There was no better era or period than the time of the Sahabas or the period of the Sahabas, all because they held on to the Quran firmly. The moment Prophet ﷺ conveyed the message of the Quran, what was revealed on him, they immediately memorized it, they lived by it, and they practiced it, and they translated all the teachings into action. And unless they would not implement it, they will not go to the next verse. Day in and day out they recited the Quran. They stood in the night for tahajjud and recited long verses of the Quran. Where did they get this intelligence? Where did they get this capacity? Where did they get this stamina? The same people, they could not be a worst community in the world. But the moment they held on to the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them as shining stars to guide mankind till the day of Qiyamah. वो चमकते हुए तारे बन गए जो इंसान को रोशनी और हिदायत दे क़यामत तक. क्या पोजीशन अल्लाह ने उनको अता किया, ये कैसे उनका उरूज हासिल हुआ, ये बुलंदी कैसे उनको नसीब हुई, ये कुरान ही के ज़रिए से. वो मुसलमान मुअज़्ज़ज़ थे लेकिन जलील और ख़ार हो गए इस कुरान को तरक करके. अल्लामा इकबाल said, there was a period when the Muslims were at their zenith of excellence, all because they held on to the Quran. But the moment they abandoned the Quran, then humiliation, misery, destitution became their lives. And today this is what exactly we are seeing all over the world. Muslims are humiliated, killed like ants. There's nobody to come to their rescue, and they're left at the hands of the enemies of Islam, mercilessly being butchered all over the world, all because we have abandoned the Quran from our lives. Let's regain the past glory. Let's get on once again to the life of the Sahabas. Let's get on once again to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ to hold the Quran firmly in our hands. And unless we don't do that, we can never see success, we can never see dignity and honor coming to the Muslims again. We have no other option than to turn back to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is the curse of the book of Allah that we are seeing this pathetic state today in the Muslim community. If we have to regain that lost glory, and if we have to get back to the way of the Khulafa Rashidin, where we are not going to be enslaved, but we are going to be rulers of the world, we have no other option than to hold fast to the Quran. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a wonderful opportunity, brothers. Let me tell you, we are not looking at quantity at all, we are looking only for quality. No doubt so many messages went, so many pamphlets were distributed, and so much of information was shared about these Quran classes. But Allah grants hidayah and tawfiq only to those whom He has chosen. And you are the chosen ones. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you the hidayah to come for the Quran classes. This is our 200 hours journey. We take you from now onwards to just the end of Shaban before we complete the entire Quran from Surah Fatiha to Surah Nas. You have to just be consistent. You have to come and attend this class regularly every day in the morning after Fajr, just for 45 minutes to maximum 60 minutes. That's it. We will not anything more, not take any time more than that. You have to just perform the Fajr Salah and immediately come over here. Come on time, be here with us. We will teach you everything in the most simplified manner. Remember, it's a new language you are learning. We are learning the language of the Quran. We learn so many languages. We learn Japanese, we learn Russian, we learn French, we learn German, we learn English, we learn computer languages. We learn so many languages and so many subjects in this world. But this is one language which is going to see us through both in this world and the hereafter. And for this, we need some dedication, some commitment, some seriousness from you. We will not take a penny from you. There will be not a single penny charged for you for this. And there's no course in this world where you can just learn free of cost. Today, even in the name of Islam, the entire matter has become commercialized. A lot of money is made in the name of Islam also. But Allah bears witness, we have never taken a penny right from the day we have started this classes 15 years back. Inshallah, we will never take it till our life lasts in this world, for we are doing it only to get the reward from Allah on the day of Qiyamah. What can you give us? We may get crores and crores of rupees, but ultimately we'll leave everything behind and go to the grave empty-handed. But what we are looking for is an endless reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah. وَمَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرٍ إِنْ أَجْرِيَ إِلَّا عَلَىٰ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do not ask them from any wages. The best wages and the rewards are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the worlds. Allah's Prophet said, وَمَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ أَجْرٍ. I'm not going to ask you any wages or any rewards or any price for what I'm going to teach you. For all my rewards are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the Lord of the worlds. Exactly the same system we are following. Nobody will take a penny from you. You will just have to come, but don't treat it so casual because you're not paid for it. Only when you pay money, you are serious about the subject or that course. You pay 50,000 rupees for a course, you are serious, you know, you are paid money, so therefore you attend that course and gain benefit out of it. Just because it is free of cost, don't undervalue it. We are not charging you because the Prophet ﷺ never charged any money in conveying the message of Islam or the Quran to the people. And therefore we are also following the same sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in not charging you anything. But blessed and fortunate will be those who make the best use of this particular time of this course, which is free of cost, no doubt, but take it seriously. If you're not going to take this course seriously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want casual people to come and take benefit out of this Quran. He'll make you a dropout somehow or the other. Those who do not show seriousness to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah also is not bothered about them. When Allah has already brought you to this level, don't go backward, take it forward. Whoever have come today, make sure you're coming back again tomorrow morning. And make sure that you're coming consistently throughout this course so that you will take the maximum benefit out of it. Mind you, every minute that you're spending over here, you're preserving a reward for you in the hereafter, for yourself in the hereafter. Time will just go away. But whatever we can do to the best of our ability to seek the pleasure of Allah is what is very, very essential. Today the situation is very, very scary. Shaitan has ensnared us. He's put a trap around us like a net, trying to trap us some way or the other. There are so many issues, there are so many challenges, and there are so many trials and tribulations that we face in life. We have to overcome all that, and that can happen only with the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it can happen only if we hold on to the Quran firmly. Otherwise, shaitan can trap us and deviate us. In spite of being Muslims, there's no guarantee that we will die as Muslims. We need to do sincere dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us a life of Iman and a death of Iman. And this can happen only with the kind of faith and conviction that we have on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I request all of you to be serious, to come consistently every day, take the maximum benefit of these classes and try to live in the light of what we are understanding. Carry messages every day with yourself back home and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that these messages should transform our lives, to make us better human beings, to make us better Muslims, to make us better believers, so that on the day of Qiyamah, when we present ourselves before Allah, Allah should be pleased to see us. Allah out of His mercy should grant us forgiveness and admit us into Jannatul Firdaus, and that can happen only if we have done the best what is there within our ability. Fattaqullaha mastata'tum, Allah says. Do the best as much as you can. Wasma'u, and listen. Wa'atiyu, and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa'anfakhu, and spend in the way of Allah. Khairal li anfusikum, the best for yourselves. So with these few inputs and information which I have shared with you, I am sure you have taken this matter very seriously. Make sure that you are coming every day. From tomorrow we will start the basic grammar of the Quran. We will teach you the basics, what we require for understanding the meaning and the structure of the verses of the Quran. We are not going to take you anything very serious. Don't be worried at all. If you can understand, well and good. You can't understand, don't bother at all. Just be with us and keep reciting the dua, Rabbi Zidni Ilma. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you the ability. We know better than you. We are in fact worse than you. But it's only Allah's grace that Allah out of His mercy grants us some knowledge which we want to share with you. I am no alim, I am no mufti, I am no hafiz, I am no khari. Let me be very clear to you. I am no hafiz, I am no mufti, I am no khari, I am no alim. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed some knowledge to me. I have also acquired this knowledge from illustrious and international scholars of repute. Maulana Abdul Karim Parekh Sahab from Nagpur, who is an illustrious scholar of Islam. I was a student from him. And later on, Qasim Ansari Sahab, who was the Imam and Khatib of Perimet Masjid, I was a student. These both scholars have groomed me, have trained me and brought me up to this level. They were our patrons for our Quran class until they died. So we have acquired this knowledge, I have acquired this knowledge from them, and I have, to the best of my ability, tried to share it with all the batches in the last few years. Alhamdulillah, you are also very fortunate to be here. Inshallah, you'll have a very, very rewarding experience. You'll inshallah enjoy every day of this Quran class, I'm sure. And with your cooperation, with your consistency and your seriousness and commitment, inshallah we can all together take this journey forward. And this journey of the Quran, we need to carry it till our last breath. Maybe our lives will come to an end, but the journey of the Quran continues till the day of Qiyamah. And this is the journey that we have now today boarded, and this journey will continue inshallah till our last breath. We look forward to your cooperation, we look forward to your commitment, we look forward to your seriousness in being together. Mind you, there are 4 very important rights of the Quran that we have over us. One is the recitation of the Quran. Make sure that every day, at least 15 minutes minimum, you set aside towards the recitation of the Quran. Here we don't teach you the recitation of the Quran. Our course here is to understand the Quran, to understand the word of the Quran. As Allah Himself says, I recited that first verse before you, Afalam yaddabbarul qawl, do not they ponder over every word of the Quran? Allah is asking this question. Do they not ponder over every word of the Quran? Afalam yaddabbarul qawl, am ja'ahum, or has come to them what not has come to their forefathers before? Is something new come to them? No, this is the kind of revelation which Allah has been sending right from the time of Adam alayhi salam till the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This type of revelations have been coming from time to time on every prophet, in every era and period of history, until the last and final gospel of truth, namely the Quran, came on the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the seal of all the messengers, after whom there is no messenger and prophet going to come till the day of Qiyamah. This great responsibility falls on our weak shoulders. We as a ummah have a collective responsibility to bear this great responsibility of the Quran, to live by the Quran and to convey the message of the Quran to those who are not aware of the Quran, both the Muslims and the non-Muslims. It is our responsibility. If we live up to it, we will be rewarded by Allah. If we forfeit and forsake this responsibility, we will stand seriously accountable to Him on the day of Qiyamah. So one is the recitation of the Quran, very, very essential. Number 2 is the tilawat of the Quran. Tilawat is not the Urdu type of a tilawat, the meaning. The tilawat means to follow what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught you. One you recite, the other one is to understand and to follow it. That means to live up to it, to follow the teachings, to practice what you have understood and what you have recited. Number 3 is tadabbur, reflect, to ponder over the verses of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't just recite the Quran for the sake of recitation. It will take you nowhere. For Prophet has said, there are some people who recite the Quran, but the Quran is only up to their throats, it doesn't go up below their throats, which means it doesn't go into their hearts. What we need to understand is we need to take the Quran into our hearts, for the heart also gets rusted. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, ये दिल भी जो है जंग आलूदा हो जाते हैं. जब सहाबा कराम ने सवाल किया, ये आलूदगी जंग की जो दिलों पर छा जाती है, इसको कैसे दूर किया जा सकता है? तो अल्लाह के रसूल ने फरमाया, ये ज़्यादा कसरत से मौत को याद करने से और कसरत से कुरान की तिलावत करने से ये जंग जो है जो दिलों पर हो जाता है, ये निकल जाता है, दूर हो जाता है. This heart also catches rust, you know, like how iron catches rust. Similarly, this heart also catches rust. And once the heart gets rusted, which means it gets corrupted. And when it gets corrupted, then no goodness will come into it. No goodness will ever have an impact on it. So this rust has to be removed. When the Sahabas asked, how can this rust be removed, O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Suppose the hearts get rusted, then how can we do anything good or sincerely to please Allah? Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, yes, the rust of the heart has to be removed. And how can it be removed? When he was asked, he said, through the thought of death. Maut ki yaad har waqt zehn mein rehna. And number 2 is to extensive recitation of the Quran. So we need to ponder over the verses of the Quran. We need to understand and study the Quran in depth, going through the Tarjuma and the translations, as well as understanding the Quran directly from the text, and also reading the tafasir from authentic scholars. So this is the third very important fact, is to do tadabbur. Allah himself says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Why do not the people ponder over the verses of the Quran? Are there locks in their hearts? Why don't they open up the locks of their hearts? क्यों ये ताले जो उनके दिलों में लगे हुए हैं क्यों खोलते नहीं? You open up these hearts, you open up these locks, your heart will be exposed to Islam. Your hearts will be receptive to Islam. Alam nashrah laka sadrak. Did not we open up your heart for the sake of Islam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we need to open up our hearts for the sake of Islam, for the cause of Islam. And hearts can open up only when we remove this rust, and that rust can be removed only through extensive recitation of the Quran. So make sure the third very important rights that we have over the Quran is to do tadabbur and tafakkur on the Quran. Then number 4 is balaghat, that is, after having recited the Quran, understood the Quran, implemented the Quran and its teachings, and understood the Quran, we have to convey the message of the Quran to others. So many non-Muslims are there who are not even aware of what the Quran is. Mind you, this Quran is not the holy book of Muslims, as is a misnomer. It is the book for the entire mankind. In huwa illa zikrul lil alamin. Not it is except a reminder for the entire world. And who is going to convey this message to them? We as Muslims, because we are the custodians of this book. If we do not practice, if we do not recite, if we do not live by it, then we will be depriving the others of this great blessing. And if we are not going to convey the message of Islam to them, we will again be standing accountable before Allah, because it is our responsibility to not only live by its teachings, but also convey these teachings to those who are not aware of it. Who is going to do this? Are angels going to come down and do this work? No, angels will not come. We only have to do as Muslims, to live by the Quran and to convey the message of the Quran. So these are the 4 basic fundamental responsibilities every believer has. One is the recitation of the Quran, number 2 is to understand the Quran, number 2 is to reflect and ponder over the verses of the Quran, and number 4 is to convey the message of the Quran to others. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to fulfill all these responsibilities, and we can do it. And if I can do it, then others also can do it, because we're all human beings. We falter, we commit mistakes, shaitan keeps troubling us. There is lot of difficulties and obstacles in our path of practicing Islam. But inshallah, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and with the collective effort, definitely we will be able to overcome all these trials and tribulations, and definitely we will be able to achieve what we wish to achieve. It's only that I need to take a decision, and once a decision is taken, then you live by it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after that will take over. We only have to take 10% effort, 90% work Allah will take care. एक कदम आगे बढ़ो, अल्लाह 10 कदम आगे बढ़ता है. आप चल के जो अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला दौड़ के आता है. We know that famous hadith. You just walk one step, Allah comes 10 steps forward. You walk, Allah is prepared to run and come towards you. So we just have to take an initiative and an effort. Rest Allah will take over. We only pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save us and to guard us and to protect us against the incitations of the shayateen, and to protect us from all kinds of influences that may stop us from coming to the Quran. See, we may have so many commitments in life. Some may have to take children to school in the morning, some may have to leave early for work, some may have something else coming up. But all these things, definitely, if you can find the best alternative for it, nothing like it. We think life is indispensable without us. Mai nahi to kaam nahi honga. This is only a misnomer. You mean to say everybody who passes away from the world stops? The world continues to function, irrespective of who is there, who is not there. If I can make an alternative arrangement by sending my children to school through some auto rickshaw or engaging some other way of sending them to school, if I can make a small adjustment in my daily schedule by sparing this valuable time in the morning, 45 minutes to 1 hour for the Quran, mind you, the remaining 23 hours there will be a lot of barakah in your lives. What things would happen, would take a lot of time to finish, you will complete it in a few minutes. Allah gives barakah in your time because you have held on to the Quran, which is a source of blessing. Kitabun anzalnahu ilayka mubarakun liyadabbaru ayatihi wa liyatadhakkara ulul albab. This is the book which we have revealed on, full of blessings. These blessings are something which we cannot see in our eyes, but we can experience it in our day-to-day lives. How Allah gives barakah in our livelihood, how Allah will give barakah in our time, how Allah will give barakah in our life, how Allah will give barakah in everything that we are practicing or we are encountering in our lives. This is something, this is just not theoretical, it's something to really experience it while you are facing it. This is something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has assured, and Allah will never go against His promise. Allah does not speak anything which is not a fact. And this entire world Allah has created with a set purpose. If Allah has created you and I as Muslims, then there is a set purpose for which I have been created as Muslims. Let us live up to it. Let us take the best use of this opportunity which Allah has given at hand, and let us capitalize on it to make our dunya and akhirat successful. I am sure with these few words you would have understood the message. We look forward to all of you coming back tomorrow. If those who have not registered their name may kindly do so before leaving, and make sure we're starting the class sharp 6 o'clock. Irrespective of who's coming, not coming tomorrow, we are starting the class sharp 6 o'clock. We apologize for those brothers who came early today and had to wait on account of certain issues. The brothers were not able to come on time. We look forward to your time also being punctual. If you cannot come, send us a message. We'll instead create a WhatsApp group after that for this batch 2019-2020. You can always give us information when you're not coming. Try to maintain discipline. You can walk into this class anytime and walk out of this class anytime. We don't have any classroom type of a discipline here. But it is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So show your discipline, show your respect at least for the book of Allah, if not for me or for the class. So you come on time, be here, be alert, concentrate. Inshallah, we'll give you all the details as to what is the Quran that we prescribe to you, what is the translation that you need to have, how you should do your homework. Don't get scared at all. You just need to spare 45 minutes to 1 hour in the class and about half an hour in the rest of the time whenever you can to take notes or to do little homework. For every course you have to put in some effort. You cannot just expect everything to happen without effort. A little bit of an effort with dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing under the sky is impossible. We could qualify and be qualified as graduates, postgraduate, doctors in different subjects. How could we achieve that? All because we had commitment, we had determination that I will pass this course, that I will come out in flying colors, and I will clear these examinations with good percentages. Here there is going to be no examination. There are going to be no degrees or certificates awarded over here. All our degrees and certificates Allah will give us inshallah on the day of Qiyamah. We just need to come regularly. You need to take this class seriously and attend and understand whatever we are teaching you. Inshallah, you'll see a world of change in your lives. Allah will give you a lot of blessings in your livelihood. Allah will give barakah in your rizq. Allah will give you barakah in your time. Allah will give you happiness. Allah will give you peace of mind. For this is something which nobody else can give except Allah, and all this have been promised in the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us sail through this journey smoothly. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to remain consistent and committed in the course that we have undertaken. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala facilitate for us to make it easy for us to come every day in the morning without missing on a single class. This is 5 days a week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday, Sunday is off. Monday to Friday, 5 days a week, 45 minutes to 1 hour in the morning. Inshallah, in 45 weeks we complete the entire Quran. 200 to maximum 225 hours. The entire Quran from Surah Fatiha to Surah Nas will be completed. This week up to Thursday we will be doing basic grammar. Very, very important information about grammar will be shared. You just get a notebook, get a pen with you and come. Just get a 40 pages notebook and get a pen and come. Whatever is put on the blackboard, note down those particular things. If you can note down, well and good. You can't note down, also nothing to worry. At the end of the grammar session on Thursday, you will be given grammar books for you to keep it for your reference and for your study in future. And inshallah, after that, from Friday onwards, we'll start off with Surah Fatiha. We'll prescribe to you by Wednesday or Thursday what kind of Quran you should get. You can even place an order on Wednesday. If you can't get, we'll get it for you. And then from there onwards, the journey of the Quran will start. We look forward for a very enjoyable journey ahead, and all that can happen with your cooperation and with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa akhir da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.